everyone, this is Erica from Gokche Capital. Today I'm going over 3 fatal mistakes that are made when buying land and that you need to stop right now. And this is part of our Gokche Tips series. So if you like this video and you are in the market for land, you may want to check out some of our others. Okay, so the number one mistake that land buyers make is they don't confirm legal and physical access. After all, what good is a property if you can't get to it? There are some exceptions, of course, but I think most of us want unhindered access to all of the lots that we own. So the best way to confirm that you have at least physical access is to go out to the property yourself. But there are sometimes situations where you may not be able to do this. Perhaps you're buying out of state, you're buying out off of eBay, you're buying online from a land seller, and you're just not able to go visit the property. So in that case, you can use Google Maps to check for physical access. It is not as foolproof as going to the property yourself, but if there is a road shown on Google Maps, then you at least know that there is likely some form of physical access to the property. And that's very easy. Here I've just taken one of our properties that we have for sale, put in the coordinates, and you see here there's a nice road. And it shows up in the satellite image as well. So in this case, there's also a dirt road here and another road leading to the dirt road. So in this case, it does appear to have physical access, although I may say at certain times of the year I would expect that all-wheel drive would be needed to get this to this last portion. But regardless of whether you can go to the lot yourself or you have to look at satellite images, it's also very important not just to confirm physical access, but legal access. So sometimes a property can have a nice road, a dirt road, or even sometimes somewhat maintained road to it, but the road is private. And in that case, you may have issues with gates or neighbors blocking access. So, how do you confirm legal access? The easiest way to do that is just go directly to the source and call the county. Usually it's the planning department, and you call them and you check with them whether the road fronting the lot is a county road. And usually they can tell you. If they don't know, or they tell you that it is not a public road according to their records, you can then also ask if the lot is part of a legal subdivision. So there are some instances where the lot may not front a county maintained road or other public roads, but because it was part of a legal subdivision, it has legal platted access. And this happens a lot with very rural properties. And all this means is there may not even be a full road in place, but you do have full legal access to get to your property. And most of the time, if a property was part of a legal subdivision, part of the requirements in order to get the subdivision created was to plat out roads. Now, this is not always the case, so when you talk to the county about whether the lot is part of a legal subdivision, you also want to dig a little bit into what the requirements were at the time that the subdivision was created. In some areas, the county makes your life easy because in there they'll have a GIS map, and in their GIS map you will see the legal plats and the legal platted roads on all the properties. And some counties in their GIS even label all of the county roads. So if you're lucky and your property is in a county that has a really sophisticated GIS map, sometimes you can just go to the GIS map and check the road that way. All right, second biggest mistake. You don't dig into the restrictions on the lot. So in the US, very few counties have no local zoning ordinances or no local building codes. There are some exceptions. There are a few counties that have no zoning at all and no restrictions on land use, but as I said, this is very rare. Most counties, even in the rural parts of the county, will have at least a basic zoning designation for every lot. So at a bare minimum, you want to understand what the zoning is for your property. And this isn't as difficult to find as you may think. Again, the easiest way is to just call the local planning or zoning department. It's always best to start with the county, so call the county planning or zoning department and give them the assessor parcel number. And they will tell you what the zoning designation is, and you can also ask them what the allowable uses are under that zoning designation. Now, if you also know that you're looking to do something very specific, and that's a little different from, say, a normal stick-built house. So if you're interested in tiny homes, if you are thinking about staying in an RV for a while, even if you're interested in putting up a mobile home, all of these are things that you want to check with the zoning department as well, because in many cases there will be restrictions on RV use. Certainly there will be restrictions on RV use in many areas, that is the case. There may also be restrictions on mobile homes, and there may be restrictions on tiny homes. As I mentioned before, some counties have a nice GIS map that will show you the zoning designation, and many counties will also have their zoning ordinance online. So in those counties, it's also easy to just go into the GIS map, check the GIS map for the zoning, and then look up that zoning designation in the zoning ordinance. I would also note that in some locations, especially when you are dealing with lots in more developed areas, zoning is no longer handled at the county level, but rather at the town or city level. So you also want to check at what level of jurisdiction zoning is enforced and created. Another note that I don't have here on the slide, but that you also want to check when you are looking for restrictions, is you do want to confirm whether the property is on an HOA. So there are some instances where you may have a parcel that is in a county that has no zoning. In our experience, this happens a lot in West Virginia, but you may be in a county with no zoning, but then the parcel is part of an HOA that has a restrictive set of covenants in place. And really the only way to verify whether an HOA is in place is to check with the seller. The county rarely can help you with that. All right, and the last fatal mistake is not checking for wetlands. And I think this is something that most people miss. Now, wetlands are a designated ecosystem. There are laws around it, and there are multiple agencies that protect wetlands. But basically, at a very broad level, you generally cannot build on a wetland. And again, there are specific definitions for what constitutes a wetland. I'm not going to go into all of that in this video. We may have another video where we talk in more detail about that. But for purposes of basic due diligence, you don't really need to know exactly what a wetland is, you just need to know how to check for it. So, the first place to look is the Federal Wetlands Mapper, and that's issued by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. So you can just search National Wetlands Inventory. And it'll come right up. And you want to go to the Wetlands Mapper. And then click here on the Wetlands Mapper again, accept the terms and conditions. And then you can search by location. So I already have this parcel pulled up in Google Maps. I'll just copy the coordinates, plug them in, and it'll take me to the location. So you'll see here, nothing's showing up. We don't purchase properties that have a wetlands on them, so I don't have a good example of a parcel that has wetlands on it, but you'll see a green polygon if there are wetlands. If not, it looks good. It also maps out streams, so that's what this is. Looks like there's an arroyo a little bit up north from the parcel. So that's the basic check. You should, at a bare minimum, do this. But I'll also note that in some areas, states will also have their own designated wetlands, which are not designated by the federal government, so they will not be showing up in the National Wetlands Inventory. A good example is New York State, where we're located. And if a state does have its own wetlands, it'll often have a way for you to check, so their own GIS or wetlands mapper. In this case, New York State has an environmental resource mapper, and you can search by an address, so or GPS coordinates. So I've just pulled up this random address here. And here you go, you have the state regulated freshwater wetlands layer. New York is a little slow, but nothing showed up on this address, but you would see it would be a green polygon if there were wetlands. And then New York also has some other environmental designations that you can look for as well. I'm not going to go over that in this video though. So at a bare minimum, check the wetlands mapper, the Fish and Wildlife Services wetlands mapper. That's this one. And then if you are in especially if you are purchasing a parcel of vacant land in a more developed area, you may just want to do some digging with the state to see if there are also state designated wetlands. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the top 3 mistakes that folks make when they are purchasing land. So try to avoid making those mistakes. All 3 of these topics, I could say a lot more about them, so you may want to keep digging, learn a little more about how to do proper due diligence on all of these items. And we have other videos, some of them will go more into depth on some of these items as well. But I do just want to end with a quick note. If you are not familiar with us and you are wondering who we are, my name is Erica and my company is Gokche Capital. We deal with vacant land, so we buy and sell vacant land. But we also have a number of promotions and giveaways that we like to highlight for anyone who's interested in land, whether they're looking to purchase at the moment or not. Our biggest one is our free land giveaway, so you may want to check that out. If you like land, it's an opportunity to get a parcel of land for free. And we also offer free 15-minute consultation calls, generally geared toward land investors, but if you're also just interested in buying a one-off parcel of land and you think 15-minute conversation would be helpful, we're more than happy to talk to you. And you can send us an email to schedule the consultation call at info@gokchecapital.com. And of course, we love questions, so please, if you have any questions about this video or even about any of our other videos or a completely unrelated topic, please leave us a comment in this video or in any of our videos, and we will respond in our next video. Or if you have a particular topic you would like us to cover, we may make a video just about that one topic. So as I said, please leave a comment with any questions. So thank you for listening, and more to come.